And now, live from Pod Cabin in Burbank, California, it's the Allison Rosen is Your New Best Friend show. Tonight, Allison welcomes her guest. He's a writer of the Apple TV show Central Park and co-host of the podcast Nine Chickweed Rage. It's Jeff Drake. And she's a writer and producer of Bob's Burgers and co-creator of The Great North. It's Wendy Molyneux. Chef Jeff is here praying that the Minecraft movie does well so that maybe, just maybe, Hollywood will be brave enough to make Minesweeper in Solitaire. I'm her husband, Daniel, saying hop on board the Love Bus and say hello to your new best friend, Allison Rosen.
Allison Rosen is your new best friend. Allison, with her good times never end. Allison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Allison's your new best friend.
Hello, my little ginger snaps. Welcome to another exciting episode of Allison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. That particular carbohydrate was sent in on Patreon. By Allison V. Yes, I am on Patreon. All sorts of fun stuff, including the confidant level where you receive a daily text update from me. And something wild and crazy happened last night regarding this level, which I will explain.
Oh, what drama?
Just horrifying. I will explain later. All sorts of other stuff. Patreon.com/Allison Rosen.
Patreon.
I would recommend signing up for an annual subscription. You get 2 months free. I am also on Substack. Wow. Thank you very much. AllisonRosen.substack.com. Okay. I would like to say hello and welcome to my guest, Wendy Molyneux. Hello.
Hi.
So wonderful to see you.
Welcome back to me.
Thank you.
I'm welcoming you back to me.
I feel at home. I feel oddly
Thanks
at
for
home.
being with me today.
And say you're a gracious host.
Well, when one's in my presence, I'd love to be gracious to them.
Thank you, Jeff Drake, Wendy Molyneux's husband. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back.
One more week. He made it one more week.
Wow.
I did it.
Final elimination is coming up, huh?
I know. I promise you I'm not just here for the zip line.
Daniel, hello.
Hello.
Can I say, I remember having very strong opinions about this when watching some Temptation Island, Bachelor Island. I don't know. No, maybe it was just regular Bachelorette. Boy, a lot of shows I just mentioned. But it was Jake and Vienna. And
Yes.
they had to bungee jump together. And I remember, and they were both afraid of it, or one of them was afraid of it. Everything I'm saying is a lie, everyone. I am in the zone of something that actually happened. But I just remember thinking they trauma bonded. And then they were together forever after that. I don't know if they're together still or not.
Because we don't even know that those are their
They're
real
not
names.
together.
They're not.
That was Jake the pilot, right?
Yes.
And Vienna, who was young and
The
blonde.
sausage.
And she was a sausage with eyes. I remember that because it was their first sausage bachelorette.
Nothing like that had ever happened.
No,
before.
like no guy had ever spent a night having sex with a sausage alone in a fantasy suite before. A life-size sausage
On
with
TV.
eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, people have done it through
Sure.
time.
Anything
Through
you
time
can think of.
immemorial.
What else do you do
Someone's
with your
done.
sausages?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what the Wienermobile is driving around the country for that very purpose.
Exactly. But anyway,
Yeah.
they bonded so much. I was like, I feel like it gave them an unfair advantage. Or maybe it was true love for a moment. I don't know. Jeff Fox, hello.
Hi, Allison. It's good to see you. I have to say that you're looking very prosperous.
Yum, yum. That's me doing
That's
Gwen
you.
Stefani.
Yum yum.
That's her.
That's Gwen.
Who? She said yum yum?
Yeah, play it again.
Yum yum.
Isn't that awful?
Is that her?
Yes.
Why did she do that?
Okay, so it is an old clip. You don't have the clip, do you? It's an old clip from the Weenie Roast that someone posted, and it's Bradley Noel of Sublime. The look on both of your faces, the look of disgust. Oh, that was my reaction. So it's Sublime is playing, and he brings her out as like a guest to sing on the song, and then she's like, "Oh, Bradley, you're looking very prosperous. Yum yum, right?"
Yeah.
It was so weird. It was super weird.
Yum yum.
And it's like a little baby girl. Yum, yum.
Yeah.
I do not understand
Did she-
how prosperous leads you to yum yum.
Did she
I just
say
don't.
you're looking prosperous, yum yum, or she's like you're looking hot?
No,
Yum,
she
yum.
she said something positive to him, and then he said, "I think he said I'm feeling."
Oh,
prosperous."
yes, that's
And
right.
then
Sorry.
she yummed his self-proclaimed prosperity.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that's not weird.
It made me wonder if he knew what prosperous meant. It was so strange.
I mean, unlikely.
if you have a chance to find
Coin
it,
flip.
Yeah.
At
it
best.
was Weenie Roast and Bradley Nowell and Gwen Stefani, and the song they sang was not coming to mind.
Don't speak.
Oh, I love that song.
Was it that one?
No, it was
Holla back, girl.
it was a Sublime song.
Summertime.
No, and it wasn't one of their more well-known ones. It was yum yum. Yeah, you know that one.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of stuff to get. We need to get into some of these fights that Wendy, your husband, has with Brooke Dillman because I found them.
Do we?
I just want to know where you stand on
I
them.
had to walk around New York City one time. New York City, the city that never sleeps, the Big Apple,
Fell asleep.
the Big Kahuna, the whole enchilada, and listen to them talk about whether a wallet is a fucking good gift. Like, I'm in New York. Let me just at least don't talk. Let me look around at the sights and sounds of a city I don't live in.
Right,
Let
the
me
big enchilada.
enjoy. Yeah, how many times have I even been in New York other than the year that I lived there when I was born? I was a baby.
It doesn't count.
It doesn't count. I didn't get to see anything. I thought my mom was.
New York is not the
city.
best place if you're a newborn.
If you're under one.
I was also as on Long Island. That's probably great, but
You never get to
I-
talk when you're a newborn in New York
no.
because you don't know how.
Can't get
But
a
I
word
had to
in.
listen. We're walking around New York City, a magical city, good weather. I think it was a light drizzle, which is my favorite. And these two fucking cheese bones are going on and on and on
Never
about
heard.
whether a wallet is a good gift.
Never heard.
And I was
Those
just
two
like,
words.
what is, I have such a strong sense memory of looking in at a cute little, there's those restaurants that
Yes.
go down a few steps
Yeah.
and there's a few tables outside and there's an inside
Uh-huh.
lit from within. What a gorgeous scenario. I'm
Ruined.
looking at it, listening to these two.
Ruined.
The
Be
cheese
like,
bones.
oh, well, it is not a good gift. And I've been listening to this for, at that time, it probably been 10 years. I think it was before we had kids. Now, I've been listening to this shit for 22
So,
fucking years.
Jeff Fox,
and I'm done.
allow me to explain.
Done.
Jeff Drake's high school friend, who is still his friend and podcast partner, Brooke Dillman, came on the show with him last week. And near the end, I learned that they have these fights that they've been having with the same level of passion for like 25 years. They're all of them
40
are
years. 40
amazing.
years. You're
But on the
downplaying this.
same topic.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
They
There's
have like 5
the
different
wallet.
topics.
There's like 5 or 6
So-
that we've been having for a decade.
And one of them is a wallet a good gift. Now, where do you come down, Wendy?
It's a good gift.
Okay, now what do you say, Jeff Drake?
I mentioned last time when I was on with Brooke that I have come around. That is the one that I've come
Okay.
around on. I've been like, you know what? That's a fine gift.
Are
But
you
I
leaving?
mean,
I'm
but
leaving.
but like you bringing this up is like I was like, you may as well have brought up like Wendy. Let's talk about using fancy words to describe wine. Because I was like, oh my god,
Yeah,
please,
the
why are you?
topic of
why
them
are you-
fighting doesn't interest me anymore because I've heard all these things.
Every angle. Like, there's
And
no
it's
angle that's
like
interesting
they're like,
anymore.
oh, look at our show where we have these fights
The
forever.
lunatics.
I can't do it anymore.
So,
Like,
Jeff-
I'm not a good audience for that.
So
No.
Jeff, you're like, I brought up the one thing that's gonna kill
Every
Wendy's
time.
spirit.
I was
This,
just
the
like, what?
fucking ornaments we talked about, the wine, like.
Well, that's why
Can we
he's
just-
here. There's a new audience for this stuff.
Can I just quickly find
We're
out
enjoying it.
Sure,
where you
Allison.
come down?
It's your show.
That's
Wendy,
right.
Wendy is so defeated.
I'm so defeated. I'm so broken. The world.
Which is worse?
Going nuts, and now this.
This or when Jeff used his pirate voice?
Oh, that was the worst. I literally I have to get the severance procedure so that I'll never remember Jeff doing a pirate voice spontaneously with no one asking him to, just like to be like, I'm this guy.
Wendy,
That was the worst moment of my life.
what's worse, that or talking about fancy card shuffling?
I mean, that I have two different feelings. The pirate voice made me so angry I could have flipped the table over, just so disgusted. The cards, honestly, I'm just going to be honest about what I don't like about the card shuffling. If somebody shuffled cards in front of me in a fancy way, it's such a boring thing to do.
Oh my God, it's so
Allison
cool,
sent me
though.
a meme yesterday of card shuffling, and I was like, I've never been more bored in my
You
life.
wrote back yuck.
Yeah.
If somebody,
I wrote back
in
yuck.
front. She
Yuck.
showed it to which of our kids were you
Jose.
showing it?
And it was
Did he
impossible
think it was
to
cool?
show it. No, because it never got to it. It was like a 7-minute description of how to do a card trick.
It's
and
instructional.
Then, right. To
That-
do a thing you shouldn't want to do. That's like watching it like an instructions of like how to like, you know, like if they send you home with something from your doctor, you have to
Yes.
do like
Like inject
Then
yourself,
it's like
yeah.
a long list of like, oh, to collect the sample, use the plastic tray, use the scraper. Like that is what that video was to me. I think you thought it was like, oh, here's behind the scenes. Here's what Kiss used to do backstage.
No, it wasn't that. It was.
Yes.
That got them arrested. Like I think she
Right.
thought it was
Sure.
so fucking rock and roll.
The best,
And
the
instead
best
it was
part-
instructions from the doctor.
The best part was when our son Jose was like, "What are you watching?" And so she showed him for a minute, and then she goes, "I'm writing back yuck." She
Yeah.
says out loud to
Yeah,
him.
I told him. He needs to know.
Wendy,
some things
here's a
just don't
scenario.
fly.
You're at dinner or at a party sitting with somebody, and they casually,
already
without
upset.
bringing any attention to it, just take a deck of cards, do a fancy, and then put it over here. Are you?
She's
Get
disgusted.
me
Walking the fuck out of there?
away from
She's
that person.
leaving.
Because
Yeah.
the next thing you know, they're going to be telling me about how they're trying to get into the Magic Castle, but they can't. And like, I don't
Do you
want
know someone?
that friendship is going to be a one-way street.
Right.
If that person needs that much attention from a stranger, imagine being their friend.
It's a good scene.
Okay.
It's a tell.
It's a tell.
Yeah.
It's a literal tell.
How cool they are. Now,
No.
just real fast. Real fast. Do pancakes come with butter?
Oh God.
They should.
Wait. So hold
We're
on.
still
we're-
confused.
Wait, I
We were talking
haven't
about
even
what the
heard about
crux
this
of the
stupid
argument-
fight. Am I
Oh.
getting drawn into
The
another
crux
one?
of this argument
Oh,
seems to
no.
be, and you tell me if I'm wrong here, Jeff. That if you say, if you order pancakes, that if they come with the butter on it, it's coming with butter.
That's coming
But
with
if
butter.
it's in a
Ramekin.
ramekin,
Are we really saying coming with butter?
oh sorry, if it arrives with, but well, that's how it was presented.
That's how it was. We were
I
confused.
find myself once again.
We're
saying,
confused by what
Yeah.
the debate
The
is.
debate
it has
is whether-
to do with what does
if
it
it's in
come
the
with butter?
ramekin,
That's
it's
what
not
I'm
coming with
saying.
butter.
Why even get involved?
Okay, fine. Should snowboarders be able to listen to music in the
Why are you
Olympics?
pressing
I
this?
need to know where
I
Wendy
don't
comes
even know
down.
about
I
these
mean,
now.
now
I
it's-
haven't
there's
been
new
updated
ones.
on
Okay.
these new fights.
It's
I don't
also
know
because
about
Allison and
them.
I were having this conversation. I think
Sure, yes,
I have
they
come
should
around
listen to
on
music.
on the snowboard
Yeah,
thing.
listen to
Come
music.
around.
Oh, Brooke says you're wrong.
Okay.
I actually, I feel like I'm on
I
Brooke's
don't
side on
care.
that one.
Why would neither of us is involved in the policy making at the Olympics? So what is the point of this argument?
And what are the other? What's the other one? Is there?
I'm not
does
offering
Will
any
Smith
more.
have charisma?
Yeah. I have told her this.
Okay.
This is Brooke says that, right?
She says he doesn't, and
You
Jeff
do
says that's
not
all he
get
has.
this-
I agree with
You
Jeff.
do not get this far in life as he has without charisma.
It's all
Right.
he has.
Yeah.
Like it's impossible. Have I ever told you my Ben Affleck charisma story?
No.
I never really. I would say, like, I don't dislike Ben Affleck, and I like a lot. Like Argo, I think is an incredible movie.
Have you
I
heard
like
him
Ben
speaking
Affleck.
Spanish?
No.
Oh my God! Look up Ben Affleck speaking Spanish. See if you can find that.
Okay.
It's-
But I never thought of him as someone that, like, if I ever saw him, I would be like, oh, wow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me,
I think I feel
like
the same.
Lizzie and I used to go see Matt Damon movies when we were younger because we both thought Matt Damon was a major cutie, and so we would always go see Matt Damon movies, and we were like, anything Matt Damon made. But Ben Affleck, I was kind of neutral on. And listen, I'm no prize. My face looks like a snowball that melted. It's fine. It's fine. I have other strengths. I'm good at other stuff. Just saying, I'm not going to get a modeling contract. It's a little wonky up here. So I'm not judging based on looks. It's just that everybody has their stars that they're like, wowie, wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow. You know, like
Hugh
your
Grant
Viggo,
for me.
Viggo Mortensen, I think. Wowie,
Yep.
wow, wow, wow. Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Or Angelina Jolie. To me, she's a wow.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
a fucking wow.
Patrick Schwarzenegger.
No, there's
How
something.
dare you? Let me finish my thought before we get into Patrick Schwarzenegger, because that's a long road. But Ben Affleck, and then at our old bento box building, which was right by the Handy Market, right here in lovely Burbank. Apparently, Ben Affleck and Casey Affleck had an animated project, which I didn't know anything about. But one day, we used to be able to bring our dogs to work, so I'd take Ginger out for a little walk, and I almost literally run into Ben Affleck, and he's a wow. In person, the charisma
Wow.
is
Yeah.
off the charts, because I almost ran into him and he said like, oh, sorry, or something like that. And literally just the, oh, sorry. And he was wearing like a long peacoat and he's very tall. And I was like,
Wow.
okay, I
Now you
get,
get it.
Ben Affleck
Yes.
now. The charisma is off the charts. I imagine Will Smith might be, you may even think he doesn't have charisma in movies, but I bet if you ran into him, you'd be like, oh, wow, look, there's a reason these people are movie stars.
for the
Probably
most part.
in person, you're
I
like,
have
oh my
had-
God, you're a wow.
This experience where in person I'm like, oh, they're wowing in the room. But yeah, it's interesting because you'd think the camera would capture that.
It doesn't, like, there's someone, and she's very beautiful on screen too,
Who?
but yeah, I'm going to reveal it.
Oh,
But I don't
wait.
know if everyone is like, wow, that's the most beautiful person I've ever seen in my life. But one time we had to do back when Jeff and I both worked in the promotions department, for some reason we had to promote, I think it was being syndicated or something like that, How I Met Your Mother. And Kobe Smulders walked into the room.
Oh, yeah.
And I was literally like, I'm going to faint. This is the most beautiful woman I've seen in my entire life. Like, I will leave my family at this moment for Kobe if she's so ass. And like, some people are just surprisingly a huge wow
Yes.
in
Yeah.
person.
We actually saw at like a Christmas party for like whatever WME or whatever, saw like Ben Affleck talking to somebody else, and I,
I
had
don't
the
like the way you say his name, but go on.
I noticed that too.
Now we're in
It was
a fight.
weird.
Go ahead.
How did I say it?
Ben
Affleck.
Affleck. Maybe
Ben
that's how you
Affleck.
say it.
Affleck.
Ben Affleck. How am I saying?
Ben
Affleck.
Affleck. You went Ben Affleck.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
I'm so glad you apologized.
Ben Affleck.
But I had the same. First of all, he is way bigger than you expect,
So I hear.
and like at the time, I was like, Ben Affleck as Batman. Are you kidding me? And then I saw him. I was like, oh sure, yeah.
Right.
No,
And
he probably is actually Batman. Like, he's very.
I mean, but you
impressive.
see him, and it.
How big are we talking? Like,
No, it's not that he's. It's just
He's bigger than you
imposing.
think.
He's imposing,
Okay.
and I think he has an imposing presence, which is how he's been with every.
But you don't
Jennifer
think
and
of him
Emma.
broader
Yeah.
across.
I don't
He's
think of
broader
him.
across
No.
the. A lot of stars you see, and they're
They're
like
small.
They're
slight.
frail. Yeah.
They're
little.
They're not
Well, they
exactly
are. I
frail.
feel
They
like
are.
a lot
Some
of
of them they
times
seem
they're
frail.
tiny.
They
I
almost
always-
seem like you could pick them up and carry
Yeah,
them
they're
around.
so a lot of them are very delicate,
Delicate.
little
Yeah.
dudes. you
No,
know?
but
Yeah.
he's whatever 6'2" or whatever, and his shoulders are very broad, but also there is just it's like, oh, I get it when he walks into a room.
Yeah.
I get it. I don't really see it on screen, weirdly, but in person, 100%. I was like, oh, I finally get it.
Jeff, did you find the here?
Yeah.
He doesn't sound like himself. He it's like the when you hear Ben Affleck speak Spanish, he speaks it like a native born, like someone who was born in Mexico City. Like he has the intonation.
Here,
and
I think this
perfect.
one's better.
It's crazy.
He's an actor.
Well, I think he lived there for a while or something.
Oh. This has turned into a Ben Affleck fan cast.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hang on.
Hay un actor en el mundo que la audiencia puede creer cuando yo mira es Michael Jordan, van a creerlo inmediatamente, van a pensar todo
Yeah,
esto
I wouldn't have
es
known it was
mierda,
him.
es una película de mierda, no lo creo y destruyo completamente. Entonces pero también tenía que dar Michael Jordan mi respeto.
He's promoting Air. You can tell because he's talking about Michael Jordan.
Anyway,
I have found the Gwen Stefani's
Okay.
Sublime clip. Should I play it or should I send it to you, Jeff?
Send it to me.
Okay, let's see if that works.
Me, if that works.
Okay.
This is sending music. Allison is sending something.
Hold,
Sure.
please.
I think it's going to send you a link to Instagram, but still. Okay, it's sent.
My biggest Will Smith thing is that I was watching the Oscars like in real time. And so I was like in one of my group chats, I was the first one
Oh, to see.
to be like, guys, something just happened. And everyone's like, what happened? We're delayed. And I was like, ha ha.
Oh, you were there.
Like, I was just watching it on TV, but I was in real time, and almost everyone else is delayed.
Got
Was
it.
delayed because they were at an Oscar party or whatever. I literally didn't go anywhere that year. I was just home with the kids watching it, and was so excited to be on the ground floor of the slap. It was a great night.
I don't think I've watched the Oscars in 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Okay, here we go.
Gosh, Bradley, you look so cute.
I'm prosperous.
Yum yum.
Oh, Lord.
God, it's worse than you
What?
described.
It's the
I
pause. The pause is what.
Let's hear it
Yum, yum.
again.
Let's hear. Yeah, I want to hear this for the rest of my life. This is now my favorite thing.
And the video for it we should post too because.
Yeah.
Hang on one second. Let me unmute.
All right.
Hi. Gosh, Bradley, you look so cute.
I'm prosperous.
Yum yum.
It's like with
She-
each
she's
thing,
like
it
doing-
gets worse. The cute is
She's
bad.
like doing things and then kind of stops to put the show back on. Yum yum. And then goes back to like setting up a
I
microphone.
know. And then the song is really good, but it's a hard. Anything would be good after that.
A little bit more. A little bit more.
I like it.
Every day I love it just a little bit more. And
That's
I'm from Orange County. I am legally
But yeah,
Yeah, you
required
have
to like
that.
it.
That's
Okay.
how I like John. Like I like John Cougar Mellencamp because I'm from
You
Indiana.
have to. Yes.
There's no way I can't like John
Right.
Cougar Mellencamp.
They would revoke your Indiana birth
and I
certificate.
have to love the band Kansas, so
Yeah.
I have
You
to.
do have to.
But
There's-
not the band Missouri. There is-
Interesting.
There's
how
a
that
band
works.
called Missouri.
Yes, there is.
Okay. Do you guys use Chat GPT at all?
No. not at
Okay.
all.
I
I only do it to do my new animated show.
Oh, you think you're going to get a reaction on me? I'm so dead inside, Daniel. Even if you were doing that in real life, I'd be like, well, Daniel's doing something crazy, but what can I do? I
love
guess
that.
he's going to make a Chat
That's the way to
GPT
be, by the
animated
way.
show.
That's the way to be.
I can't change him.
I was a late comer, fairly, or I'm sort of a newcomer to it. I didn't use it that much. I remember hearing Daniel, you were talking about it. Greg Heller was talking about it. A lot of people were talking about it. And then my friend Renee Colbert.
I
came up-
famously was the first to use it when I had it write a beans review.
That's true. During
Of
Daniel's
beans?
Cool Beans.
Beans.
I
This
used
is
to-
a defunct segment.
I used to review beans.
Daniel's
Ah.
Cool Beans.
Cool
Okay.
beans. I would just and then
You got tired of
I
doing
got-
it, which is a real
surprisingly
loss.
there's very limited amount that you could say about beans.
And a limited amount of beans, I would think.
Yeah, and
I
so
mean,
then
there were so many
a
beans we
limited
hadn't
amount of
even
interest in
touched on.
beans. But then she had a theme song created, and so then it was like there was a lot of pressure for me to keep coming. So I just had Chat GPT write one, and you know what?
I haven't asked for it since.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I mean, I would take a Daniel's Cool Beans any day of the week.
Yeah.
Come on, it's Tony Paxton. It's so good.
I know.
Yum yum.
I'm shocked that Mung made the cut for the song. That's a shocker. That is a deep bean
Listen,
cut.
that's why he's a big time rock star, and we're not.
Okay, so Renee Colbert came on and she had just bought a car and she negotiated how much she was going to pay via Chat GPT. By that, I mean, she said to Chat GPT, like, what should I say to get the best rate? And she just followed the script and it worked. And she's like, you guys, you're missing out if you're not using Chat GPT. It's like a friend you can ask advice for that knows everything. So I've started asking it advice. And we have long talks. It knows.
Really?
I mean, yes, actually.
Whoa.
We text. Have long talks is a little extra. There's things I have been trying to figure out, and it does know a lot of
you
stuff.
can tell ChatGPT. Let's say there's a person who you're curious about their psychology, and you don't want to pay $100 an hour, or what is it now?
So
$200
much more than
an hour
$100
to a
an hour.
therapist to do it. You can kind of feed a bunch of information to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will
Like, what is the deal with this person?
will give you will take all the information you've given them and then sort of give you back a profile that's the most likely given the way that it works.
It also
And
gives
kind
me
of-
fish advice.
And then you can ask questions about it. You could be like, well, what is this? It's kind of like it's like having someone who has all of the information that's publicly available about a topic, and then you
Right.
can query it.
Yeah. So anyway, this is humiliating. I don't normally do things like this, but I have a meeting today that I want it to go well. So I said, can you give me a pep talk and help me focus before the meeting tomorrow? However, I didn't send it to ChatGPT. I sent it to
The defense
Community, which is the texting app I use for Patreon. I sent it to a listener at the confidant level. Now,
Just one listener?
thankfully, just one, not everyone.
I think it's worse that it was one.
Or that. Now, the concern.
Well, this is funny. Imagine
I guess
getting
you're right. Yeah, I guess it'd be better if it was everyone.
accidentally sent it to everyone.
Yeah.
Then it's sort of like, haha,
Right.
I'm asking my community for a pep talk.
Yeah.
No.
One feels like you were targeting that person.
Well, when I let me read you let me read you the back and
You
forth.
there specifically. Give me pep talk now.
Okay, can you
You
give
owe me this. You gave me 99 cents.
Here's the thing. If you notice, it is now dark background, but before it looked. I've made this mistake numerous times, not like actually gone that far. One time I did send someone else.
I wonder if that's why on Instagram DMs you can select like a
Different
theme for the
theme.
background. I wonder
So
if that's why they do that.
I don't know why my brain constantly confuses Community, which is the texting app, and Chat GPT, but they look similar. It's a C. It's like the screen looks exactly the same.
It's the black
Yeah.
and the white.
So I
as opposed to
changed
blue.
it. This one now. Can you give me a pep talk and help me focus before my meeting tomorrow? Here's me. Oh my God, that was for Chat GPT. How truly embarrassing. I am horrified. She wrote back, thank God I was feeling a lot of pressure to deliver. And then I said, ha ha ha. And then she said, you got this, girl, was all I was going to be able to come up with. I said, the interface of this texting app looks the same as Chat GPT, a nightmare. Then she said, this is going to be an amazing story you could use to sell the confidant level. So anyway, though, horrifying. However, it could have been so much worse because I could have written like, and I haven't, but like I have a little bump here, and it look, you know what I mean?
Right.
All sorts of stuff. Like I'm
Right.
considering committing fraud, or I don't, help me through this. I think
Help
actually,
me through committing fraud.
yeah, I think it won't help you with illegal things, but or like I started this Patreon and now I have to keep up with it. It's so difficult. What do I do? I'm
Right.
making that up, but anything. So this is not as embarrassing. But oh my God, horrifying.
How was the pep talk? Did you eventually get one?
You
from
know,
ChatGPT?
yeah, it was real generic, I have to say.
Yeah.
And at this point, it should know me.
Shocking.
Well, you know what you can do though.
It should know me better than that.
What the way
It kind of gave me a "you got this, girl." And just have fun with it.
No, but you have to prompt it better. You say like, use
your fault,
everything you know
Allison.
about me. You have to tell it specifically. Try that.
But isn't that kind of blaming the victim?
That's what I
Like
was
Yeah.
if ChatGPT
if I had
gives you a
just
lousy
said it
answer,
differently, he wouldn't
yeah,
have.
people go, you're not asking it the right question. That's the same logic of like, hey, have you tried yoga? And you go, yeah, I tried yoga. It was kind of boring. And people go, well, you didn't find the right yoga studio.
No, it's more like if you used a
Oh my God! I almost just typed that to send it to Angela again. Jesus Christ!
It's more like if you use the side of a hammer to hammer a nail, and I said no, use this part. It's just a tool. You got to learn how to use the tool.
Hold on, wait.
A gun is just a tool.
What side? What side are you supposed to use?
I thought maybe you'd know
No, I don't. The wood part. I use the curvy part.
the rubbery part.
Maybe you're not using a hammer, actually.
I think it's a vibrator. But
Yeah.
To drive in nails, I use 2 vibrators and 1 gun.
So
Just
that's
fire
what
the
they
gun
were
into the nail.
for. That's what they were for. Jeff,
Yeah.
did you know that I found 2 vibrators and a gun at my parents' house when I was in the same drawer?
No.
Yeah, one of the vibrators plugged in. We've been through this already, but it was really old. And then one was fairly fresh.
It was plugged in? Like,
No, it wasn't plugged in.
It
but
was a plug-in
It
type.
was a plug-in,
Okay.
yeah.
Really fresh.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, I'm assuming
This
based
is why
on...
you're supposed to do that Swedish death cleaning, right?
Yes.
To not leave things behind for your
Yes.
children.
What's
Oh.
the Swedish death clean?
Oh, this
It's
is
like
a whole
some
thing
kind
on
of cleaning
TikTok.
that you're
yeah.
supposed to do to make sure that you're not burdening the people in your life after you pass
I
with
like this.
endless things to sort and catalog and
Oh, sure.
take care of. Like if somebody's a hoarder, that's probably
Honestly,
a hard thing for the family to
okay.
go through.
Yeah, it is.
I think that like your folks should have done some of that.
Oh, it would have been great if
I
they
mean,
had.
I mean, they didn't think of that way at all. And your dad's health was failing. They knew, mortality was
Knocking at the door.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that when you
the
get to be
Reaper
old.
was getting closer. Maybe now's the time, and they didn't.
But why in your last You know,
Right.
like I've only got a few days left on this earth. You know what I'm going to do?
Clean.
Clean. Fuck
Yeah.
that.
My mom.
Everyone's least favorite thing.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to spend my
I
life.
guess if you're not going to do it ever,
The last
to this
energy
point, why do it
I
now?
have.
Yeah.
Have we talked about the Christmas tree? My
Oh my
mom,
God, no.
here's the downside of an artificial Christmas tree. You can just leave it up indefinitely. So how long was that?
I think
still
it's going
up
on
currently.
3 years. Like,
yeah.
like it
It
used
got
to be.
to a point where it was like, well, why put it away now? It's about to be Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. She hated putting it up and taking it down. I get it, but she would like try to like. I think one year she tried
She
to
was
get
like,
me to do
hey,
it.
want to put ornaments away? And you're like, no, thank you.
No, I won't even do the ornaments on our tree. It's like I'll string the lights and do the rest of it. And
Not in a Brooke Dillman way.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so I think your mom would just leave it up, and then it would be like June, and it's kind of like we're too close to Christmas at this point. And she just
It's not close to Christmas, though.
I think that was the thinking. And
I don't know what it was.
She
but
anyway. She won.
She got the
She
last
never
laugh.
had to take it down.
Yeah, there's a lot. She never, oh no, what was I going to say? It was about all the. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So we have sort of between ourselves and also the listeners of the podcast been saying that my parents were kind of hoarders.
Not kind of. I mean, I'm
But
not.
then-
Listen, I'm not speaking ill of the dead. Your mom was a hoarder. Just like, let's just be real.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because my intention is, Daniel, to be real.
Okay.
I was talking to John, their handyman who you met yesterday.
Yes.
I didn't think you could hear rubbing your forehead in grief on a microphone, but I think we actually picked that up.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, what is happening to your hat?
Yeah, you rubbed your hat off your head. That was really
It was
weird.
hanging on just by the headphones.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
That's what grief sounds like when it's
Yeah.
picked up by a microphone.
Okay, so my mom had this handyman who had worked for her for 40 years, something really, really long. And then she hadn't seen him in the last couple years of her life. But he had put a lot of stuff up on the in the rafters of the garage. So I called him both because I wanted to let him know my mom is no longer with us, and also to ask, do you know if there's stuff in the attic? Do you know what's up there? And then he ended up swinging by yesterday. We got to catch up with him. That was very tangential to the story. When I was on the phone with him, I referred to them because he made a crack about your mom never threw away a box because the box that everything she ever bought when it came in was in the garage. And I said they were basically hoarders. And he's like, no, they were collectors. They're not hoarders. Hoarders are people where you go in and it's like they can't find a pet and the pet is dead somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I get
That's
it.
that's another right. There's probably as with
Gradations.
anything else. There's
Yes.
a spectrum. 'Cause,
Right.
real hoarding, right, is there's barely a path through the
Mm-hmm.
home. It's so filled
Right.
with things they won't let anyone in because of all that and all that stuff.
He's
and that's
probably right.
It's somewhere on the psychological spectrum,
Yes.
right?
But I feel like it is a spectrum, to your
Yeah.
point. And they were certainly to the left of someone who it doesn't collect as much. I mean, I get what they're saying. I get what he's saying. The house was not unsanitary, but it was hard to walk through
Well,
the
I
office.
guess I don't know what the technical definition of hoarding is, but
I think he's just talking about a more extreme level, like on the show Hoarders.
yeah. Okay,
Yes,
so
the
so
real deal.
it wasn't quite that, but I mean,
Yeah, with
there were rooms that were almost that. I mean,
The
The
Office.
Office, when we first, after she passed, the first, walk through, you're talking about, stacks and stacks of paper on every surface, on the chairs, and then and I'm the one who cleaned up that office and sorted through it, and it was, candy under everything,
But not
just-
messy candy, in wrappers, right?
Yeah, and tissues, used tissues that weren't
Okay,
thrown
that's
away,
gross.
literal trash everywhere. But so I don't know what is hoarding.
But was there a cat in there that was dead?
I just keep thinking you're finding collections of receipts from 1995. It's what were you thinking was going to happen, Shelley? Did you think that there was going to be some audit of your entire financial life.
I
You know,
think,
it's
isn't
like
it a kind of perfectionism though, where it's like if you can't do it because if you start
Yes.
it, it'll be so hard to finish.
Maybe.
It's the like perfectionism, right? Is like I can't start writing this paper or screenplay or whatever because it's so big, and the key is just to start, of course, always. And I think this is like the reverse version of that of like, oh, if I were to have to break all this down,
Right.
it's overwhelming.
it's overwhelming, and so people don't start,
Right.
and then they never do, and then it just gets worse
Yes,
and worse and worse because they're
absolutely.
like, well, I'll just add it to the pile, and eventually I'll start, and they never start.
I also think, and this is going to sound more judgmental than I mean for it to, but my mom didn't work. Like she was like a tour guide at Marineland or something when she was a teenager. She managed my dad's office when he was working. She handled all the finances of the family. However, she didn't have a job ever, a career or a job really. And tell me if you guys agree. I think something about not having a job allowed her to indulge the perfectionism that you're talking about, Wendy, and to take as long as she needed with various things. Like if you have a job, you sort of have to be more practical and pragmatic, and you have to be in the real world because you have to get shit done. You have to deal with people.
and you have to have an editor's mind where you're just like, I just don't need this. Throw it
Yeah.
away. Like, or
To some degree, you just have to be more normal.
I just think your mom, the way that your mom, her psychology was like to worry about every possible outcome. So she was always like, what if this happens? What if this happens? What about
Yes.
this? What about this? And so there was this feeling like this is important or could be important. It's like, okay, like a sound bar for the TV, you know, or literally anything, but I'm just taking this for an example, comes in a weird box, right? And that box still in the garage because the box that everything came in is still in the garage. And you go like, she was thinking,
What if I return it?
but there might be this chance that I might need to return it, and so I'm going to hold on to that box. But there's never that part where she's like, okay, now the amount of time has elapsed where I'm going to now deal with that box.
What
So
if
it
I
stays-
have to move? It's a perfect box. For
or maybe I
putting
need
it
to
in
move. And it's like, as long as she could think of one possible future where she would need it, she would keep it because she didn't want to shut down. And it's like, that just leads to a house full of just trash.
But the good news is, and you and Jeff Fox were talking about this a little bit earlier, it does give you a greater sense of like, what are the things to keep and what are the things to throw out. I haven't implemented it yet, but when I do, look out.
Yeah, like, well, and we're in a different era too. Like, I get it in like 1990 when you're getting bank statements because, you know, if you needed to look at your bank history, that's it.
Yeah.
But now everything is
digital.
available online. So if you ever needed that, you could go get it. There's no
I
reason to
actually
hang on to anything.
I actually think that so much of our lives are digital is why I'm finding I have less attachment to things than I would have thought I would.
Yeah.
I'm more able to like say, let's just walk away and set it on fire.
Yeah.
All right.
And she was looking right at Daniel when she said
I
that.
did. Let's walk away. And
That's
set it
what
on fire. Yeah.
She was
Dear
glancing
Chat
at the
GPT.
house.
Her eyes like widen with excitement.
But one thing John, the handyman, said too is like everybody, because he was talking about other people he's known who are dealing with estates. He's like, everybody thinks they're going to hold on to something for their grandchildren, and then they die, and then the children are just like, throw it away, because you think it's so important, like the bed that I had when I was a child. But it's like, but no one. There's not going to be like a museum to you. There's not going to be like a roped off room where it's like,
for
this was where
yourself.
grandmother's room is perfectly preserved. Like no
Right.
one, it's
Yeah.
neat, but it's not like, what is an heirloom and what's just stuff? You know?
Well, it's like I in the mid to late 90s, I worked at we talked about this a little bit. I worked at
The alt weekly.
at an alt weekly, and the newspaper was one of, I mean, even in the late 90s, it was still like weird to be like, do we need a website? You know?
Yeah.
And so like, even after I left, it was long after I left, I moved out here in 99. It was long after I left that they finally went online. And so literally I sort of estimated it once because I had a weekly column.
What was it
and
called?
Reverberations. It was
Music.
It was about music, and the title was given to me.
You love that title. You came up with it. Love it. It's your favorite.
Yep. So, but I know how long I did it. I wrote like 250,000 words just for that column. So I wrote like a ton of stuff for the paper always. And when I moved out, I had huge stacks because it existed nowhere else. So I had like actual, like I had a copy of every single week of the newspaper that I had worked there.
Yeah.
And then I also had, but I had like all the stuff I wrote, like my columns, I had like hard copies of, and I put those elsewhere. And then there was finally one day where I was like, what? It was in our last house, and it was like, our garage is like so filled, and here's a bunch of this stuff, all the stuff I did at Pitch Weekly. Like, I'm not interested in reading these stories now. I don't care. And there were a couple. It's like, I want to reread. At some point, I might want to reread this one or this one. Like a couple of cover stories I kept the things of, but I toss them all out. I worked with one of my best friends at the paper, and I told him this information. He was like, "That's crazy. I still have he still had, but of course he's in a house that he's not ever going to move out of." And it's just like, but I was just like, I just realized, like, I came to that point where I was like, I'm not going to, who's going to be interested in this?
So it's
I'm not gonna
interesting
look at
that
this.
you mentioned that, because I came across a couple boxes of magazines that have articles that I wrote in, and like a whole banker's box filled with OC Weeklies and Mean Street and like and I'm pretty tempted to just toss it. For a second, I was like, it's so heavy and it takes up so much space. Yeah. And if I had been smart at the time and cut them, then it could be like, it'd be a big stack, but at least it's not an entire issue. Yeah. Like I had, I feel like I sound like I'm trying to one up you, and I'm really not. I'm trying to relate. I had I did some reviews for People Magazine, and it's like, I had there's 7 copies of People Magazine, but it was an issue that announced Princess Diana's death. So I'm like, oh, maybe the estate sale wants these. But like, I ripped out the page of that one, but I don't see the point of keeping all of it. I don't know. I guess it's kind of the same. Do you ever wish you had it though? I mean, for your kids to see, or
in some ways I like there's like, back to the bank statements. I like 3 or 4 years ago came across like, oh, here's a whole bunch of old bank statement stuff. And
I want our kids to see the bank statement. I want them to be like, why did you go out to eat so much? Wow.
This is why we didn't go to college.
Yeah, this is why we have nothing now.
But I kept a couple just for a reminder of the address I lived at. Just because I came across one, I was like, oh, because I have a terrible
for when
memory.
you're doing a credit check, verifying your identity.
Yes.
Well, there is some of that.
Yeah.
I honestly, that's good, because
Just take a picture of it.
I have forgotten all of my previous addresses, and I'd be like, did you ever live at this? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Did I?
Well, like, I remember at one point, like in my 20s, I lived on a street called Holly Street in Kansas City. I have but if they put like 3 different addresses, I'd be like, that one?
You got to do the severance, like which numbers feel scary. Mm-hmm. Just the vibe. Yeah.
We don't talk about other shows on this show.
Oh, you got to do a Bob's Burgers thing or a Great North thing, like that thing.
I don't know why you're looking at me when you're saying when Wendy is the one who asked. You're like looking at me going, Bob's Burgers, Great North. It's like,
well, because you reacted to what I said, so I feel like you're a good audience. Okay. Anyway. Yes. Okay. So you kept a couple.
Yeah. I mean, and so I pared it down from like whatever it was, like 3 crates of stuff down to like less than a crate. Yeah. Like, it's like, and even then it's like, in some ways, and I did that with like stuff from some jobs that I worked at, just like, oh, this is just fun to read, because otherwise I won't remember, and there will be nothing to trigger a memory. And so it's like fun for me to look back. My kids will hopefully just throw it in an incinerator.
I have the exact opposite problem.
It with us. Yeah. Us, we're gonna die at the same time.
I want to throw everything away that I've ever created, because it's to me just cringe. Like
Yeah,
everything,
I don't like anything.
anything I wrote before
Yeah.
yesterday.
Would you
And-
like
Hold on.
notes that you left on my door at Pomona College? Because
I mean,
found a
that
stack
would
of
be
those.
funny.
I didn't find the rabbit scent on your dress that makes me so digress, though. That was yours, right?
Did I put that on
Yes.
your door?
I think I found
That
notes from a
sounds like
different
me.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or rabbit pee on your
Rabbit pee on your
something
dress.
like that. Yeah.
Macy's Center. That sounds like me. But also, don't you look at stuff like actually stuff from like 20 years ago can be fascinating because
Yes.
you don't remember it and you're
Right.
like, I did this. Like I don't remember things about.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I can. I just don't
Yeah, that can be
catalog
fun.
my own life or care about it in some way.
Do
I don't
you
know. I
keep
think I
a-
have that real sense of like, oh, I'm like one of 8 billion people. I'll slip off this coil and nobody's like my kids will care, but it's not going to be like, oh no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like,
How will my future biographer ever recreate my life?
For me, it's more like
not a
is
thing.
my desire to just get rid of everything going to be a problem after I die for my kids who might want
Well,
to
my dad
know that about that part of me,
Yeah.
but I'm just like, ugh.
like we don't have any of my dad's yearbooks because he said that he frequently decided he was just going to start over, and so he would throw out all of his stuff.
oh.
And I wish he hadn't. We have one medical school yearbook, which
Yeah.
the funny thing is, I'm like, oh, cool. I haven't cracked it open. Like
Right.
it doesn't have an index, so I'm not going to look at it.
Right.
I want to say this about the old writing thing,
Yeah.
though. Is the reverse is you keep it around to be like, oh, I have gotten better. Like to remind yourself on those times when you're like, Jesus, I feel like I'm so terrible. And then you read something from like 20 years ago. You're like, nope, I'm better than that.
That
I'm
guy
better than that.
sucked.
I have gotten better.
That's
So.
true. I don't know.
Let's do just me or everyone.
Sometimes I ponder on something I have thought or done. Is it just me or everyone?
It's time for just me or everyone.
All right, Wendy, do you have one?
I do have one. I wonder if other people, I'm so addicted to coffee that almost any apocalyptic scenario, I don't think about the thing like a nuclear war or some sort of really terrible thing. Literally the first thing I'll think about is like, oh, how would I get coffee? Literally, like I'm dying, I'm rotting of radioactivity or whatever, radiation disease, and I don't have coffee. Like literally, that's my first thought. And I'm like, I'm a drug addict. Like I'm a drug addict. The only thing I care about is whether or not there would be coffee after the apocalypse. And I think there wouldn't be. Like when I watch The Last of Us, I'm like, oh my God, they get up in the morning and they're outdoors. Well, though I do think he has coffee with him for some reason. And that made a big impression on me. He makes coffee on the campfire, I think, maybe. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's okay. Then that would be fine to be in a mushroom zombie world because if I was with that guy, he figured out how to
Knew how
get
to do it,
coffee.
yeah.
And but then I'm like, where's the coffee coming from? Because there are only like 2 population centers in Last of Us. So like even that, I get so distracted being like, where does the coffee come from?
Are
Yeah, it's a good
you
point.
the same as me where I need the coffee when I wake up to help me
100%.
get ready? The
100%.
people who go out to Starbucks and pick up their coffee
After.
on the way, like I would need a coffee to get
Yeah,
to that point.
100%.
Okay,
Yeah.
same.
No, Jeff and I are always super coffee focused. When
Yeah.
we were on spring break like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And everywhere we stay, it's like before we go to bed, the coffee plan has to be ready. We're like, is there a coffee shop in the hotel or motel? Or do we need to go to the grocery store and get the coffee? And is there a coffee maker in the room? And if so, but there's no milk, like we have to have
yes.
everything
Yeah.
ready because it's like a
We have-
full disaster.
And frequently it's like, don't trust the coffee maker in the room.
Yes.
You know,
We have.
What?
Haven't we like purchased
An
a coffee
AeroPress?
maker on a vacation where we didn't have a coffee maker?
Totally,
Yes.
I would.
We were
yeah, we would
100%.
do that.
The
We
They're
would
not
do
that
We
expensive.
were in the big
Yeah.
enchilada of New York.
Okay,
And
yeah,
we
I've
went
been there.
to like
the whole cannoli.
Yeah, exactly. The humongous ravioli.
the full tube sock. Right?
Yep.
We got like a
Dental
60.
chair of America.
We bought a Keurig knockoff
Yeah.
at a store.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, and because we were there for like
We were there for a while.
yeah,
Yeah.
we had to.
Look,
We were forced to.
coffee makers don't cost that much money. And if you're in a hotel and you like order a pot of coffee to
it's
come
like
up,
It's as much as a
you
friggin-
could buy
Yes.
you buy yourself a tin of coffee and a coffee maker, and that is less money than getting
Yes.
coffee from
point.
room service.
There are just certain hotel room coffee makers. Like it is like the scary numbers and severance. Like some seem fun when we were in San Francisco in our hotel room. That one was fun. It gave me like fine vibes. And then other hotel rooms, you feel like no one stayed there for 30 years in that room. And you look at the coffee maker and you're like, I can't put something from that in my mouth. I just can't. So it's like, okay, where's the Starbucks?
Yeah.
How are you
Right.
getting there in the morning? It's like
There
a
was
whole ordeal.
And there was like some video where it was like
They
or-
always say,
where it's like, oh, they use the
don't
same rag,
use-
they wipe the toilet to wipe the
Exactly.
glasses, and now it's like, nah, I can never use
Yeah,
the
the
mug and the glass.
drip coffee, a drip coffee maker in a hotel. It like
See,
no-
I
no
I
thanks.
use
Weren't
it.
there flight attendants who say they wash their underwear in it or something?
Oh my, something like that. I feel like on TikTok, it's
Yeah.
always like, 9 things flight attendants don't tell you, and it's like don't drink or do tell you, and they say don't drink the coffee in the airplane, which I also always do.
I
Why?
do drink the coffee in the
Yeah.
air.
Why
Because
not in the
apparently,
I'm desperate.
I don't know. I
I
forget
feel
why.
like it's the
Maybe
ice
they
in
never
the
clean
airplane
it or
because it
something.
can get moldy.
Well,
Everything has to do with nothing
Don't
ever
eat
being.
the seat.
after I have
If you
my
eat the seat,
Don't
they
su-
get so
yeah,
mad.
don't suck on the cushion.
Yeah, don't lick the flight attendant.
I
Even
have
if they
Well, you're not
say
supposed
it's okay.
You're not supposed
because they probably
Yeah,
did.
well, in first class they let you.
You're probably just drunk because you're in an airplane, and you probably thought they said it's fine to lick me, but they certainly did not. You are just drunk. That's why you have to drink the coffee because you've had 3 gin and tonics already.
That is why I have to drink the coffee because it's the one time where I unabashedly get drunk is on an airplane.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not much of a drunk. I'm like a 2-drink person, but on an airplane, I will get shit faced because I'm so anxious that I'll just get shit faced. And but the way that I spit on my microphone. What
That's
a
fine.
disgusting animal. The way that I get drunk on an air, but the thing is, just in life in general, I can't physically drink enough to like black out or be really outside of myself. It's just I will get a level of drunk I would normally not get to tamp down all my feelings. And by drunk, I mean 3 drinks. For me, that's drunk. But I will do it on an airplane because I'm like, my feelings are so insane that the adrenaline like counteracts it. Where I'm just like,
you can't.
Are you
yeah.
basically not going to fly now for a while because of
No,
what's
it's
been going on?
fine. I can't. The reason I've gotten over my fear of flying, I didn't fly for like 5 or 6 years, and then I was like, these children need to go places.
But what about
And
all the
so
planes
I
flipping
have
upside
to-
down?
Daniel,
I
you're not
know, I
helping.
know. Listen, I didn't love that. And I will say, I think that's the fucking crazy thing about this administration is people don't understand how safe life, generally speaking, is.
Yeah.
The lack of disease, safe air travel, safe highway travel, basic safe shit. If you've ever traveled to a country that doesn't have good infrastructure or doesn't have like medical research and basically like a hospital that's ready to go for any emergency, like people don't fucking understand.
But in a
how
way, that
safe
was our
their
worst
lives
enemy
are.
because people took that for granted.
Yes.
They didn't realize it, so
Yes.
now they feel like, oh, it's okay to get rid. It's sort of like someone who has depression who's been on a drug that makes them. They're like, I'm fine. I don't need this, and then they go off it. It's like we're about to find out why we
it's
needed
so
government.
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's just like, it makes me feel insane.
It's like the catch-22 of the COVID vaccine. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, does it really work? It's like, well, we did it. And it's like, well, it didn't work 100%, so like maybe it doesn't work at all. It's like, okay, but if we
Could have been
didn't do
so
it,
much worse.
you know,
Yeah.
Right.
but
Just the weight of the stupidity of people right now is so fucking insane. I don't usually talk that way, but it's just like, are you fucking kidding me about the fucking measles? Do you understand? I think it is. It's like everyone feels so safe, and like it's like, I'm in a family where there was, my sister's child died. My sister's child died of leukemia, and almost no one has experienced something like that in this country. It is a certain percentage of people who've ever had something happen to them, like losing a child or something. It's like a lot of people are going to find out what it feels like to fucking lose, and it feels fucking terrible, and you never, ever, ever get over it. You don't ever get over it. And they're playing with fucking a fucking hand they don't even understand. And that's what I'm like, there's so many people out there who could tell you from the other side, get the fucking measles vaccine, you fucking moron. And then it's just like it's like it's a disease, like the way people are thinking. I'm sorry, but it's fucking nuts. It makes me feel so insane.
See,
like
it
that
does.
people just want to make life harder. It's like, what are you doing?
Right. It's like you're
one.
too comfortable. Yeah.
I think there's a reason why, like, there's the generations that grew up after the Gilded Age and they went through the Great Depression and World War II and everything. Those generations protected the Great Society that FDR created because they knew what it was like before and they understood the value of what this stuff did. But it's been so long,
Right?
And
So
there's
fucking
no generation
comfortable.
alive now that has had that kind of hardship. And we don't know what it is to have polio just ravish a community.
Right, where you don't want to let your kids go to the pool in the summer because there's a rumor that that's where it's spreading now.
I
or
remember
whatever.
having an argument with a listener about the COVID vaccination, and he was telling me, like, it's better to have herd immunity and, like, everybody get it. And I'm like, even if – I was trying to explain, like, even if the COVID required the same level of contact that like the measles did, which we didn't even know if COVID would protect you from getting it again. But let's say it did, which by the way, it
Clearly
doesn't.
doesn't.
But like, let's say it did, instead of 1 million people dying in the United States, roughly, it would have had to be like population wise, 5 to 8 million people. So that's what you're advocating. You're advocating like, yeah, people are dying with the vaccine because it's not 100%. But what you're suggesting is another 4 million people dying in order to get to herd immunity. But they couldn't see it. They couldn't agree with it. And there were all these, and it was just like.
Also, vaccine immunity is herd immunity.
Well, yeah, and it's just like.
It is herd immunity.
The risk that you're talking about with the vaccine is so much less than the risk of
Right.
not having
It's
the vaccine.
herd immunity without death.
But like,
Yeah.
even
That's
now I
what
know there are
vaccines
people listening
create.
who are like arguing with me. Like, and so it's just
Fine,
like.
fuck off.
I just feel like.
Deal with a death and then get back to me. Call me after the death in your family and tell me how it made you feel. Yeah. Call me after. Call me when somebody who didn't need to die dies. And then tell me how it felt if you were such a fucking warrior.
Well,
you were so fucking smart. Sorry.
Yeah.
Fucking, these people drive me fucking insane.
I think a lot of people are coming to this point where you're just like, I guess we just need to find out.
Ugh. But I think that's Wendy's
They're
point.
so
The
bored.
finding out is
So
going to be
safe. It's
so
so
much
bored.
worse
No,
than
so
anything.
comfortable.
It's like I think a lot of us are so tired of trying to convince people. Like,
Right, of
I'm
course.
so tired of trying to get through and say, hey, do you not see what's going to happen? It's so frustrating right now. All these people who are like, wow, I didn't think it would get this bad. It's like, yeah, because you thought we were hysterical. All of us who were saying it was going to get this bad, you thought we were crazy. And now that it's like, oh, we're going to invade Greenland? Gee, I never thought. It's like, well, I don't know what to say anymore. Like, I don't know how
Right.
to get anyone to take me seriously. Like,
Okay,
You put war plans in the group chat. And all
It just in the interest of time.
oh, yeah,
because
we were
Wendy,
doing it just me or everyone.
That's okay. It's okay. It turned into
It
hang
really
up
went
stuff.
down a-
Okay.
Yeah, it did
Let's
turn
see.
into
We have
hang up fucking
7 minutes of Wendy. We have to use them wisely.
Oh my god!
do. Does anyone-
I die at the end of 7 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. It's like
This
Hunger
is what
Games.
I wanted to do. We talked about, do you want
Yeah.
to clean with your last moments? I wanted to be on this podcast.
Thank you. See, and I love
So
that.
sweet.
And also,
So
when
sweet.
I heard it, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. 'Cause just love the show. Okay, who else has a Just Me or Everyone?
I just want to piggyback real
Yeah.
quickly on Wendy's.
Won't let it go.
No. On
coffee.
Wendy's, but my post-apocalyptic fear is an inability to find chapstick.
Oh, wow.
Oh. But see, there are natural derivations you could use, like if you had some olive oil, if you had some whatever.
But
Like
I
coffee is so specific.
I'd have to have the plan because I'm like
Like a
days that I
panic.
end up with. I'm like, I didn't bring chapstick.
you should plant some natural chapstick in your backyard.
A chapstick
Fancy
tree.
tube.
You know, chapstick's a hoax, Jeff. Chapstick's a hoax.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Anyway,
Wait, do you use just regular brand chapstick?
I use regular chapstick. I prefer the Burt's Bees, though. I prefer that.
What we really need is herd immunity from chaplets. That's the real solution.
Ah. Jeff, did you say you had a JMO?
I do. Just mirror everyone. I feel bad if I go into a store within a half an hour before it's going to close.
Oh, yeah. Especially, okay.
Having
But
worked
how do you-
retail.
You know what I don't like? Is when they try to usher you out 15 minutes before close. Now, I get it from a worker's standpoint. But
Yeah.
a little bit, it's like, hey, You got 15 more minutes.
Yeah.
I will be looking at
I'm
the
on the
bananas.
worker's
Look at
side
these
a little bit.
I,
Like, there's
I feel bad
I know.
because I feel like
GTFO.
yeah. Well, if it's 15 minutes, like we've started to clean that out. Don't make me make a thing and then have to dirty
But
it
they're
up
starting
again.
to clean it while they're still.
Because
I mean,
they want to get the fuck out. Because
I feel that way for restaurants.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
clothing places, I don't know. I worked
Yeah.
at Victoria's Secret like every summer. I don't remember having any feeling of resentment towards people who come in before closing. But
Right.
it was a very quiet store. It wasn't very busy. So it was like, yeah, they might ruin one underwear table.
you know
But then I
Zara.
have something to do.
You know that store,
I
Zara.
know it. I don't shop there. But
I always hear about it as it's fast fashion. It's bad. I walked into it. We were at the Glendale Galleria. Oh my God. At a different show. We need to talk about our experience at Kids Foot Locker because wow. But anyway, I walked through Zara and I was like, wow, everything is so cute and so cheap. I've got to come back here, even though
problem.
I know. But then here's the question. It reminded me of shopping at Limited and Limited Express, which I loved. Was that considered fast fashion?
we didn't have fast fashion back then because there wasn't
Oh.
the internet to buy it on.
Okay.
Right? So there wasn't this like they're producing so much more than anyone's buying, and then those shirts are sitting on a beach somewhere, right?
Okay.
Isn't that the thing?
I don't something like that. And
It's
also,
like
I think
they
the
make
labor
excessive
practices are poor.
clothes And yeah, the labor practices. So there
Okay.
might have been bad labor practices, but we never fast
mean
fashion
efficient.
came around with like it was like it hasn't
Like
it wasn't
H&M
when we
and-
were young.
I won't
Okay,
stand
all
for
right.
this
Then
anti-Chinese.
then
you mean
those
prosperous
were
yum yum.
Yeah, we
then
looked
those Henley
prosperous,
shirts
yum,
were
yum.
fine. Yeah, we
By
were
the way,
we were
my favorite restaurant.
prosperous. Yum yum.
Prosperous
Okay,
Chinese
Yum, yum.
restaurant.
all right. And I'm going to table my just mirror everyone, and then okay, we got to get to product picks. Let me just real fast. Does anyone have a hey go fuck yourself that they feel like is really good?
I basically already did mine.
Okay. Does anyone
Anti-vaxxers
want to
around the
express?
world, I will
Does
personally
anyone
physically fight you.
want to express their hey go fuck yourself? Does anyone need to tell someone to fuck themselves?
Mine can wait till next week.
Okay.
Yeah, I can wait till next time with mine. I have a product that I can talk about.
Let's do podcast pals product picks.
Podcast Pals Peanut Picks.
Okay. Jeff, let's hear yours.
Mine, and I was looking up. There's a lot of companies that make this. I don't know the proper pronunciation. Is it Sissel? Is it Sisal?
A fleck.
Is it?
Is it a rug?
No,
Oh.
it's a washcloth.
Oh.
I use a Sissel, Sisal,
Wendy's divorcing you right now.
washcloth, and I can't really use a regular washcloth.
Oh, it's
because I
ruined
don't-
you for other
because
washcloths.
Yeah, I like the feeling of the
Sissel?
exfoliating. Yeah, Wendy does not
I
like
think
this.
is it jute? Is it like something very
I-
thick? Did you
it's-
hate the way I said jute?
I think that's a different
I
fiber.
blacked out.
You're talking about the
Seconds ago.
really scratchy
I'm not
one.
really
the,
here.
The one
I
that's
don't know.
like-
What's
Yeah,
sissel
it's-
sisal?
It's
What does it feel
different.
like?
It's a different fiber.
Okay.
It is a coarse fiber. I'm deeply regretting bringing this
Is it
up.
like rubbing your face with like a trivet that you put on the table so your pan doesn't? Is it thick and like?
It's not that
It's like a
thick.
scrub daddy for your face.
Yeah, a little
Is
bit.
it really?
A little bit. Yeah, I use
Doesn't
it on my
that
whole
rip your
body.
skin off?
No, it just exfoliates.
I mean,
in a
look at
sense-
his skin. He does have
in
It
a
nice
does look
sense-
good. Yeah.
In a sense, it does rip the skin off your face, but that's it. That's
In a-
called
in a-
exfoliation.
Okay.
That's what that means.
I mean, I guess.
But then on
Can you fold it, or is it like?
yeah, no,
Sturdy,
you fold
okay.
it. It's like a washcloth, and and I can't even look to my right now because of
Wendy's
I could just-
spirit has exfoliated from the room. She's depersonalized.
Now I feel like I should have done a hey go fuck yourself.
Me too.
Wait, I think Wendy has one now.
Wendy, how do you feel about his washcloth?
I just didn't want to hear about it.
But are you aware that he loves the washcloth?
I guess.
Do you bring it on trips?
No,
Oh, okay.
but then I kind of regret it.
Oh boy.
Wendy, do you have one?
Yeah. Well, actually, I only came up with it because Daniel and I were talking about what do you do with all the kids' art. I think they sell these giant clear art portfolios on like Amazon that are. I can send you a link. But
Oh, that'd be
they're-
great.
You can stick all the kids' art in there. Then you can actually physically look into it because we've been doing this thing rather than like get art for our walls that didn't have art. We've been taking their stuff and framing it.
I love
and,
that.
Like thrifting some frames and doing cheap frames and taking other things out of frame. Like, I don't know. I'm in this like under consumption phase of my life. So we've been doing that, but I think those portfolios are useful because they're clear and they're gigantic. So you can put in like 2 years worth of kids' art in there.
Would be
if you
amazing.
feel bad
That's
about,
what we
like,
need.
that's one thing I do hoard. I don't think I'm not on the hoarder scale very high, but I do like to keep the kids stuff because I'm like, someday I will want to actually look back through it because I
Right.
like looking through it now even and being like, oh, look at that little drawing they did. So if you do want to keep that stuff, I think they're useful.
That is amazing. Thank you. Yes, we have. And what do you do with their schoolwork, though? Do you keep that?
Schoolwork, I wind up tending to. I mean, they're worksheets. Like,
Yeah.
most of that is worksheets. If there's
Right.
one that's really cute where they drew a picture and they wrote a story, then
a story,
throw it
yeah.
in the portfolio with the other stuff.
Right.
But I feel like the worksheet
But,
stuff
like, math
is
gets
the
tossed.
same as
Yes.
every other kids. It's like I've never looked at my old schoolwork.
But what if you need to remember what like 4 + 5 is?
Honestly, I kind of do.
Excellent. Okay, Jeff, do you have one?
Great book about one of the greatest punk rock bands ever, No Means No. The book is called No Means No, From Obscurity to Oblivion, An Oral History by Jason Lamb. It's a fantastic book. You can get it on
Wow.
Amazon.
Interesting.
I gotta check
sounds
that
very
out. And then mine, real fast, is the wet brush. It's very basic, but it's a brush that you can use to brush your hair while it's wet.
I
It
use
does not
that.
break your hair. What?
I use
it?
that too.
Yeah. Daniel has one too.
Great brush.
I was, it's the kind of thing where I don't think about it much, but I don't ever use a comb to get through my wet hair anymore. I just use the wet brush.
Yeah.
So great. Okay, wonderful. All of these things, Amazon.com/shop/Allison Rosen. Okay, real fast, plug anything, please, Wendy.
Oh, people, we got to watch The Great North. Please watch The Great North. I
Just
am
leave it on.
begging you.
Just put it on. Leave it on.
Put it on.
Yep.
You can watch it on Hulu. I genuinely listen. This season is really good. I really encourage you to check it out. I think that our funniest episodes are this year. Check it out. And I loved all the other episodes too, but I do think, like many shows, it's kind of like, yeah,
Hit its
we're
stride.
hitting our stride.
Yeah.
It's a difficult environment out there. There's a lot of shows, so check it out on Hulu or watch it Sunday nights on Fox. Also, I still write for Bob's Burgers, so obviously watch all 250 episodes of Bob's Burgers available on Hulu. And Bob's comes back, I think, in a few months on Fox. So they've got a lot more animated shows now, so they rotate them. But Great North is on now. Bob's will be back. And watch them both on Hulu. And I think I'm at Great North Wendy on Instagram if you want to give a follow. And that's and Wendy Molyneux on Blue Sky.
Wonderful.
I second what Wendy says about Great North. It's hilarious, and this season is amazing. I had nothing to do with the writing of it. I just get to ride shotgun while she's working on it, and it's amazing.
Slowly scrubbing himself with his
With his sisal washcloth.
circles.
Not slowly. Yeah. Really super glad I brought that up. I do a podcast with Brooke Dillman called Nine Chickweed Rage. You can find us at
The weirdly sexual 9
It's so sexual. It's really gross. You can find us at 9chickweedrage.com. We're also on Instagram at 9chickweedrage and on Blue Sky at 9chickweedrage. And I am on Blue Sky as Hate the Drake and on Instagram as Not the Famous Drake because somehow Hate the Drake was taken.
Great. And Daniel?
At Daniel Quantz on Blue Sky and the other stuff as well. Sometimes I go back and forth. Quantz.
Jeff?
No plugs for time's sake. I'll punt till next week. But watch Great North with
Thank
Wendy's
you.
show. It's an infinitely watchable show. Put it on,
Thank
watch
you.
it.
Yes.
You're done.
Leave
And
it running.
You know where I am. Support all my things. Follow me everywhere. Episode with, this is a big plug for everything. Episode with Dana Gould is out this week. And also, I am going to say, make sure to watch The Great North, please.
Thank you, Allison.
You guys, thank you. Listeners,
Thanks.
thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Allison Rosen show?